I remember getting a call. It was a call to say that my mum had gone into hospital. We had to make a decision on whether to put her onto a ventilator to help her to breathe. I was there every day for 2 months by her side, every day. And the whole time, I still had a global summit to run in 2 weeks' time, the one that takes months of preparation and every single ounce of energy that I have. That night, I went home and I couldn't sleep. And I really, really prayed that night, more than I've ever prayed in my entire life. Like today, for instance, I have taken time out of my business to drive an hour and a half to go and interview Matt. And that meant that I couldn't pick my daughter up from school today. So she is at her friend's house, she's having a great time. But I have to make sacrifices in my business and in my life sometimes for it to be a success. It isn't just sipping champagne on yachts or going to these luxury retreats or hosting these bougie events. There is sacrifices that I make all of the time for my business, but it's so worth it because I get to impact thousands of lives. If you've just watched episode 1, you know who I am and what brought me here. And if you haven't, you can skip back. This episode is about what happened next. This year, the year I decided to build Soul Speak's lasting legacy, to create the podcast, to premiere a documentary in front of a room full of the most extraordinary founders I know. This is the behind the scenes that nobody else saw. Not because I was hiding it, because I was still living through it and wasn't quite ready to share all of it yet. Every year in March, I run my annual global summit. 400 founders, world-class speakers, one of the biggest events in my calendar, the one that takes months of preparation and every single ounce of energy that I have. This March, my mum went into intensive care. I remember getting a call from my father-in-law, and whenever I get a call from my father-in-law, I know that it's not going to be something great. It was a call to say that my mum had gone into hospital. Now, for me, my mum going into hospital has been quite a regular occurrence. I went straight to the hospital, which is one of the reasons why having your own business and making your own rules can be so rewarding. I was met by my sister, and mum has a history of diabetes and had gone into a seriously long hypo. We had to make a decision on whether to put her onto a ventilator to help her to breathe. As you can imagine, that was a very tough time in my life. I was sitting by her bedside for an entire week. My brother flew in from Australia because we were so concerned about losing our mum. And the whole time, I still had a global summit to run in 2 weeks' time with partners, sponsors, people that had expectations and also promises that I'd made that perhaps I wasn't able to fulfill. I want to tell you what that actually looked like, because I think when people hear that kind of story, they imagine someone holding it all together from a distance, sending emails from a hotel lobby, managing the crisis professionally. That's not what it was. I remember sitting in the ICU next to my mum's bed. She was on life support, and I had my laptop open. I was building out the funnels for the summit, writing speaker briefs, managing logistics, all of it, from that room right next to her. The nurses had said that we should talk amongst ourselves and talk to her to help her progress. I remember practicing my keynote in that room. I started speaking quietly to myself. And then one of the nurses that was looking after my mum came over to see what I was doing. And then another one appeared. And then a third, all leaning in. I ended up delivering my keynote practice to 3 ICU nurses whilst my mum laid beside me on life support. And I've thought about that moment a lot since then. Because here's what it tells me. The methodology works. Not just on stage when everything is going right, it works when you are in the hardest room of your life and your voice is the only thing that you can control. I was there every day for 2 months by her side. Every day. Not from a laptop in a hotel, from that very room. If I had a normal 9 to 5, I could never have done that. The recurring revenue, the team, the systems, it all meant that I could be exactly where I needed to be for as long as she needed me. Oh, I feel a bit emotional. Sorry. People talk about freedom in business like it means holidays and passive income. But this is what freedom in business actually looks like. It looks like being able to sit with your mum when she needs it the most.
The thing that really keeps me centered, regardless of what is going on outside of me, are these practices and these rituals and routines that help my nervous system and help me to be centered. And over my 9 years in business, my business has still stood the test of time through a pandemic, through a financial crisis, through my mum being hospitalised. And I almost visualise myself like an old tree that has been there for hundreds of years. You know, a storm can come and it will blow some of the leaves away, but it will never undo the roots.
I need to stop here and say something clearly, because I think this part gets misunderstood, especially in the world that I operate in. The nervous system work, the somatic practice, the breath work, the subconscious identity recoding I do every single day. That's not a spa treatment. It's not a soft, slow, optional part of what I do. It is the infrastructure. In those 2 months, I was living 2 completely separate lives. There was ICU Laura, present, terrified, holding it all together. And then there was the business Laura, strong, bold, making important decisions, hosting speakers, running client sessions, and showing up for her community. The only reason that I could move between those 2 worlds without completely breaking down was the work that I have been doing on my nervous system over the years. The practices that had become so embedded that they activated automatically, even in crisis.
This morning I'm just getting ready to go out for a morning run. I'm going to do the school run first, and then I am going to go for at least a 4K run. It really helps me with my mental health.
And here is what I need you to hear. I still do this work every day. Not because I haven't healed enough, not because I'm still broken, because this is not something that you graduate from. The practice is the point. The practice is what held me in March. The practice is what holds me still to this day now. When I work with my clients, I'm not teaching them something that I've figured out and moved past. I'm teaching them something that I live, and I'm living it right now alongside them. That's what makes it real, and that's what makes it work. Hey my love, thank you for checking in. I'm just leaving the hospital to go and pick my daughter up from school, but yeah, bless her, she's still unresponsive. She can definitely hear us, but she's been heavily sedated and they've stopped the sedation now. and they're just monitoring what she's like. But yeah, she's still very drowsy from being that heavily sedated, so it's just a waiting game. My mum was in ICU for 7 days on a machine that was helping her to breathe, and each day we were having conversations with the doctors to see what was wrong, because they still didn't know why this had happened and why she wasn't able to come round and why she wasn't able to breathe by herself. And I asked the difficult question around, if she continues like this, what will happen? And the doctor came back with the fact that she would either have to go into a home and be made comfortable, or we may have to make the difficult decision to turn off the machine. That night I went home and I couldn't sleep, and I really, really prayed that night, more than I've ever prayed in my entire life. Obviously, me, my brother and my sister were supporting one another and taking turns to be there for her, and I had to make the decision whether to continue with the summit and my speaking engagements, or whether to pull the plug. There's going to be £1,000 in ads going out as of tomorrow, and I'm just wondering whether to just pull the plug on it for now. I keep thinking to myself, give it until Tuesday. What do you think? There was this intuition inside of me, and I remember talking to some of my friends that supported me through this really difficult time and saying to them, I'm going to give it until Tuesday to see how she is, and then I'm going to make my decision on Tuesday. And I can't remember what day it was. I think it was either a Thursday or a Friday. It's all a little bit of a blur, if I'm honest. Tuesday came around and she started to wake up. I had committed to speak at an event in Manchester, and there were going to be 100 women in that room. I had obviously been unsure whether I could make it. My mum was still in hospital, but she came off the life support that Tuesday, and I had made the decision to honour that commitment. And I remember standing in the wings before I walked on, thinking, I don't fully know how I'm going to do this, but I know the methodology that I teach will hold me. I walked out, I looked at the room, and I spoke. I don't fully remember every word that I said, but I know that I spoke about using your voice when everything inside you wants to go quiet. And I know that it was one of the most powerful talks of my life. Not because I was performing, because I wasn't. Because every single thing I said that day, I had just lived. That is what the methodology is. It's not a script. It's not a formula. It is the thing that holds you when your story is so real that the words carry themselves. This is the 3rd annual summit. I am so excited to see so many of your beautiful faces. Honestly, I feel a little bit emotional because this was a vision for me, and seeing it just come to life. And Natalie has been with me the whole time, and we are together building a fucking movement, ladies. Give me a hell fucking yes in the comments if you are here for it. But I also just want to explain why this event is so important to me, and why this 3-day event started back in 2024. I had a vision of bringing together world-class leaders to teach them about energetics and strategy. And when I had that vision, people used to look at me a bit side-eye. But now we're here in 2026 and people are awakening. But it doesn't matter if you have the strategy, if you don't have your health, most importantly, and have the oomph and the energy to actually hold and receive it. And we're going to be educating you on all of that over the next 3 days. This year, the year I've been describing, has been the best financial year of my entire career. I want to say that clearly and without apology, because the idea that success and struggle can't coexist is one of the most limiting narratives in the entrepreneurial space. Because the summit ran, the clients kept coming, the revenue grew, the rebrand launched, the podcast was born, and the premiere event was planned. And my mum was on life support. Both things were true. Both things are true. And this is the polarity of building something real. The highs and the lows don't take turns. They don't wait for each other. They arrive together and they live alongside each other for as long as they need to. You can find pockets of joy in all of the moments. And the only thing that determines whether you survive it, whether you can still show up, still lead, still serve, is who you are underneath the strategy. That's the work. That is always the work. Right, it's 10:31 and I did say we did at 10:30 sharp.
And you're on time.
I'm on time. Today we are joined by 9 conscious founders from all over the country. I'm Beddoe-Collins and I'm taking you behind the scenes to meet all of these incredible women.
I just think this is so cool. My little 7-year-old self is like,
The world is absolutely bored of masculine, patriarchal systems. They're collapsing around us. And Soul Speaks Lasting Legacy podcast is all about teaching you how to come home to yourself first and then build from there. So let's go.
Lasting Legacy!
Soul Speaks Lasting Legacy is not a podcast about popularity. I am done with the popularity contest. It's not about how many followers you have or how much money you make, or even about being the loudest voice in the room. What is important is founders that have a story that matters. Founders who are building something real, something that has started potentially from pain that became purpose, something that other people need to hear about, and who are ready to stop building quietly and start owning the rooms, the stages, and the platforms that they deserve. Every episode goes behind the polished highlight reel into the real story, what it costs, what it gives back, what it actually takes to build an extraordinary life and business. Not the version you perform for the world, but the version that is true. What happens when you turn the camera off? And that's what makes this podcast different. What makes it unlike anything else in this space is what happens before the microphone turns on. I work with guests beforehand. I ask questions surfacing the unconscious blocks. And I ask the questions that nobody else asks. And then we go on air. And we facilitate a live breakthrough. Not a rehearsed story, not a polished narrative, the real thing. Because communication is the key to everything. In life and in business, it is absolutely vital. And your voice, your actual voice, is the most powerful business asset you have. I made this documentary because I wanted to pull the curtain back. Not to show you how extraordinary my year has been, but to show you what it actually looks like when you back yourself completely, when the methodology gets tested in real time with real stakes. Me in ICU, the summit, the stage in Manchester, the rebrand, the premiere, all happening all at once. All of it real. And I'm still here. The podcast is still launching. The community is still growing. The business is still standing because the foundations were right. If you are a founder with a story that matters, if you are done with waiting for the right moment, the right platform, the right version of yourself, if you have been building quietly for long enough, Soul Speaks Lasting Legacy is for you. Raw and unfiltered conversations with founders building extraordinary lives and businesses with the courage to speak up for what they believe in. Every guest walked in with something they hadn't said out loud yet, and walked out having said it, on record, on purpose, for the people who needed to hear it. The founders who change the world don't need a mask, they need a microphone. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're home.